times in a depositor account, right? Because a customer can have multiple accounts. So if there is, let's say customer ABC has 3 accounts. So in the depositor table, his name would be thrice in 3 different rows: ABC, ABC, ABC. And then we won't want to duplicate those results in our final answer. So select customer name from borrower and correlate them with using the distinct operation, correlate them using the in clause, right? So basically what does it become? Select distinct customer name from depositor, where customer name in select customer name from borrower. Okay. um, we can also compare or use the in test or our set membership clauses with multiple attributes. So in the last example, we just said that we are returning a single attribute here, that is customer name. And then we are just comparing these customer names with these customer names, right? We can also do the same thing, but with multiple attributes being returned in the subquery. So let's say that find the ID of the largest loan at each branch, including the branch name and the amount of loan. Again, find the ID of the largest loan at each branch, including the branch name and the amount of the loan. So how do we find the largest loan of each branch? The largest loan of each branch, we can do a group by. So select branch name and max amount from loan, group by branch name. So from each branch, get me the maximum amount. And since we are using group by, we can also use branch name comma max amount here, right? Now we can use this subquery result inside, this query's result as a subquery in another query. So get me all the details. So I'll just select start from loan, where branch name comma branch name from my amount in, and then we have select branch name comma max amount from loan group by branch name. So here we are correlating 2 attributes at a time in our subqueries, right? Okay. We also have empty set tests. We had that example for exists and not exists. So for example, find customers with an account but not a loan. Remember that was our set difference operation, right? So select distinct customer name from depositor D. Basically, we are renaming depositor as D, where not exists. Select star from borrower B, where borrower customer name equals to depositor customer name. So basically, we are this particular subquery filters out all the all the rows for customers that have both an account and a loan, both of those. And then we are just saying from the set of customer names that hold an account, remove these results that have both an account and a loan, right? Note one thing here that we did not see earlier. This is something new, that our subquery here is using the table D that is only referenced in the external query here. Right, so depositor D is just referenced here. Within the subquery, we have never defined the depositor, but we are using it to compare it out. So we can do that. And essentially, remember that in general, whenever we have nested subqueries can refer to enclosing queries relations, so the external queries relations. However, external queries cannot refer to internal subquery relations. So the external query, for example, this one cannot refer to borrower B. It has to declare its own borrower. However, the internal query can happily access this depositor D, right? Okay. So whenever we have a nested query where we are referencing our table from the external query, those queries are usually called correlated subqueries. right? So you can imagine a correlated subquery as, imagine if you are a database, how you would solve it. So essentially for every uh, query, inner query must be evaluated once for each tuple in the external query, right? So for each tuple in the external query, we need to evaluate the internal table again to find out those results, right? So generally this ends up being a bit too slow, and you can imagine this as an analog to a nested loop or something, right? For every iteration of the external loop, your database needs to iterate the entire internal loop again and again over time to evaluate your results. So that is why it ends up being quite slow and generally should be avoided. However, I think that we do have questions like this for our homeworks as well, for our second homework, and you should be able to play around with some of those correlated subqueries. Okay. So correlated subqueries are not often necessary, but sometimes they might be a necessity. But if they are not necessary, then it is good practice to restate your correlated subqueries using a join or a Cartesian product, because that usually makes your life, at least the database's life, much easier and makes your results quite more efficient and more faster. Most or at least more advanced databases from Oracle or MySQL would actually automatically decorrelate such queries if they can in their own engine. However, some databases can't. So that is something to keep in mind. So back in the day, like let's say in 2007 or 8, like 12 or 13 years back, MySQL queries for these correlated subqueries were quite slow because they implemented that and they did not automatically decorrelate those results, and those ended up being quite expensive queries. However, nowadays MySQL is able to scan and parse your query much efficiently and get you those results much faster. Okay. Set comparisons. So these are some of the most, at least used operations ever. And in my life, I've never actually seen some of these being used. And on that note, I'm going to skip some of these. I think I'm going to skip some of these. You can go through these, but essentially these talk about basically three things: sum, any, and all. So basically you can use those to compare basically the same thing as your in and all of those things. So sum, you also have any, and basically which is the same thing as sum, and basically all, right? Let me look at that example. Okay, uniqueness. So we can also perform uniqueness tests. So uniqueness is basically, unique is it occurs only once. Not unique would basically give you if it occurs more than once. Most databases do not implement queries that allow you to write these statements with unique or not unique. However, you can actually emulate this in any way, but one approach could be group by blah, 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 having count star equals 1. That would be unique. That is only once. So get me all the unique results. So that would be give me all the results that are only occurring once in my group by statement, or group by blah, 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 having count star greater than 1. That is not unique. Right? Okay. We can also have subqueries in the from clause, right? So we talked about subqueries in the, back up it. So we talked about subqueries in the where clause. We can also have subqueries in the from clause as well. Okay. So these are usually called uh, derived relations because you're querying something that from a subquery's result, right? So a having clause can be implemented as a nested from clause. So let's say that we have this case, find all cities with more than 2 customers living in a city, right? So find all cities from some table, find all cities with more than 2 customers living in the city. So select customer city, count star, it says none customers. From customer, some table customer, where we are grouping by customer city. So we group by all the cities, and then basically we count all the customers in a particular city using count star. And we basically print out customer city and count star having count star greater than 2, right? So more than 2 customers. If we did not have this having clause, it would just print out the number of customers per city, right? So group by customer cities, then count star. So that basically gives us the number of customers per city. If I say having count star greater than 2, it only shows us those results that have more than 2 customers in a city. We can also rewrite this having clause in the from clause. That is, select customer city num customers from, and then select customer city count star from customer group by customer city. So that gets me all of those customer cities and count stars. And basically we say that select customer city and num customers from there. Note one thing that we have in this from clause here. Note one thing that we say as counts customer city and num customers. We'll talk about this in just a second. But essentially then we can say where num customers greater than 2. We'll come to this as part in a second, but note another one thing that I forgot to talk about. Essentially, see that here we said select customer city, comma count star as num customers, right? So we said that count star is going to be renamed as num customers, but note that we did not say having num customers greater than 2. We said having count star greater than 2. So having will not allow you to use rename values. For having, you would need to use your aggregate functions again. So that is why we have count star twice here. Okay. A subquery from a from clause must be given a name. So as we said, as counts. So when we had from some subquery, and where this was our subquery, we have to give it a name. And in this scenario, we named it as counts. And we also named the individual attributes to customer city and num customers. Different database systems require different things. So for example, MySQL only requires your derived relations name. So MySQL would just require your database or your table name, that is just counts. However, PostgreSQL would require your attribute names as well. So it depends upon which database you're using, but essentially we must have a name for our subquery in the from clause. Okay. Any questions so far? Subqueries are essentially, if you imagine it, subqueries are just some things that you're going to evaluate first and then use that, and depending upon where you're using your subquery changes on what you are achieving, right? So if we had subqueries in the where clause, it was used as a predicate, right? So if we had subqueries in the where clause, we then say where this is true. So that is what the subqueries in the where clause comes in. The from clause, on the other hand, can be used to generate mini relations that can then be used the subqueries in the from clause can then be used as derived relations, where you can then use it from some derived relation and then select certain things from that, perform